are getting ticked. The nickel and diming is getting too much. And every time they do something, every time they increase a price or say that they're decreasing a price, actually, at the bottom line, for most sellers, they're losing. And
Lunch with lunch with lunch
Hey everybody, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today we're going to be discussing the Black Friday recap and what's it looking like to go into 2024 and a couple other things. We're going to talk about how to stand apart from your competitors getting into the new season or the new year. What strategies Kevin, our guest today, is going to implement in either Q5 or going into the new year, and what's new and exciting in the world of Kevin's kingdom. So welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. All right, like I said, we're going to be talking about a couple different topics today. It's going to go probably all over the map into a bunch of different rabbit holes. But we have our guest today, probably you've probably come back the most, Kevin. I know you're probably nodding in the background. I can't see it right now. But he's been involved in the internet since the beginning days, kind of like me. We're both fossils when it comes to this. So about 1995. He sells millions of dollars of products on Amazon, and he also mentors a ton of people. Collectively, they do over $500 million a year in Amazon through the Freedom Ticket and Helium 10 masterminds. He also organizes one of, my favorite, BDSS, the event that I recommend. If you can't get to a live event, check out his virtual event, but that's the $1 Billion Seller Summit and his new $1 Billion newsletter, which we'll be talking about just in a second. But anyways, you haven't guessed, it's Kevin King, and he's back for like the 1000th time. So let's talk with a sponsor, or let's get over to a sponsor and we'll come right back.
Facing cash flow challenges with your e-commerce business? Discover Viably, your ultimate financial ally. From real-time sales data integrations to immediate funding access, Viably is here to support you. Plan your growth with their free tool for online sellers and engage with specialists whenever you need. Extend your cash flow with Viably.
And where is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. King?
What's up?
I have not seen you in ages.
I know it's been a long time. I know we have to always meet on these Lunch with Norms.
We should do one actually, sitting out on the balcony having a cigar. That's what we should be doing.
That would do. We might not need the heater during the day.
Oh my God. Yeah. So by the way, we've got these two heaters. Kevin's got one on him. I've got one on me when we're out there doing it. So we do it in comfort.
That's right. That's right. That's the only way to do it.
Oh man. So lots going on. Matter of fact, I want to talk about. I noticed that in my group, like our WhatsApp blew up yesterday about this. We were talking about this briefly because I hadn't heard about it until you mentioned it about the fees, and then I opened up the WhatsApp group, and it was crazy. So what's happening? Well, what's going on, and why do you think Amazon's doing this?
I think they're getting more sophisticated, and they're actually realizing that we need to be getting people to shape up and get in line. So there's a series of fee changes that they announced. Some I think are February, some are April, some are I can't remember all the specifics, May or June or something. And they're kind of giving you a heads up of this is what we're going to be doing, and they're just trying to get the shipped tighter. Amazon used to be, I don't know exactly how many warehouses they have now, but it was I know at one point it was 200 plus, and I have no idea what the number is now. They built a lot during COVID, and then they pulled back. Like they built a brand new one here in Austin, and they bought land to build another one that was going to be like 6 million square feet or some crazy freaking number but they've held off on it. They pulled back when the COVID bump kind of leveled off and kind of dropped back. They're like, okay, maybe we're overbuilding. And so they're going to turn that land into a data center now. They bought this expensive piece of land. So I just saw the other day that they're going to turn it into a data center. But and Amazon is right now, they overbought and overbuilt some of the warehouses. So they have some empty buildings. So they're subleasing these out now. There's a story about that in my newsletter, I think Monday of this week. And so they're starting to sublease some of those out. And so they're just trying to get their ducks in a row. And that's why they're implementing some of these changes. And some of it's, like one of them is if you don't have, if you're low stock, if you don't have 4 weeks worth of inventory, they're going to charge you a penalty, basically, if you're not keeping 4 weeks worth of inventory. And I think one of the reasons for that is it costs them extra money. If you're not keeping enough inventory, they can't distribute it across their network. So in the old days, when they had 200 plus warehouses, you would usually send to what's called a cross dock. A cross dock is they don't store anything. It might be some warehouse in Dallas, and all that dock does is stuff comes in and they split it up and then they send it back out. It's basically like an airplane hub, like flying into Atlanta on Delta Airlines, and they do a hub. So that could be.
Hold on, Kevin. Special announcement here. Kelsey, get online. What are you doing?
Ciao, humans!
Hey.
Yeah.
Lauren's here.
I'm coming to crash the smart.
She's crashing the party.
Here, look. I grabbed her too.
There we go.
There
Can
you
tell
go.
the difference?
I was like, it's new and it's lunch with Lauren.
How are you? I haven't seen you this morning.
Oh my God. It's been good. Today's
It was
been
good
really
yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a time.
Are you submitting your 10-minute tactic?
I did.
Okay, good. He needs to win $1,000 so he can buy pink sparkly shoes.
Oh,
to match
that's
me.
right.
You should see the shoes. Are you wearing them today?
No. I'm wearing snake pants. So there's
Just as good as the pink sparkly shoes, by the way.
So sorry for crashing. I just wanted to say
You
hi.
can
Hi.
catch anytime.
Oh,
Good to see you, Lauren.
Ciao.
Okay, we'll see you
Okay.
later.
See you soon.
Okay. Bye. Okay.
So
Like
Amazon.
you were saying fees. You have Lauren, or we could talk about boring fees.
So the way it worked is Amazon would have 200 plus warehouses, and you'd send it into a cross dock. They would figure out, in the first they're just kind of guessing when you have a new product, but after a while they know that, okay, we need to send 6 of these to Miami, 7 of these to Charlotte, 13 of them to Houston, 12 to Oakland, California, and so on. They would split them all up and send them out and disperse them so that they're closer to the customer. And then they changed the model within the last year or two. They went to a more regionalized system. So it's like 8 regions now. And so instead of doing this cross thing, and what would happen back then is if someone in Miami, they sent 6 units to Miami and all 6 sold out, they would have some extras in Oakland. They would have to fly that thing on Prime Air or whatever over to Oakland to get it delivered, and it was costing them money. And so they went to a system where they had 8 warehouses, 8 major distribution hubs, basically, almost like like American Airlines has Miami, Dallas, JFK, and LA, or like 4 major hubs in Chicago. They kind of went to that same system, so everything comes in there and it serves that regional area, and that's what they've moved to, and that's why you're seeing some of the, when you split things up, they're splitting it into kind of that geographical thing now, where it gets it closer. And so they want to penalize us if you don't have 4 weeks of inventory, because that means they got to move more stuff around and cost them more money. Because when something runs out one place, they don't have time to do it cost effectively. They got to rush it or throw it on an airplane. And so they're making us pay for that. They're like, hey, you guys got to help us out and get your shit together and get stuff in here and quit being lollygagging around, because it's costing us time and money and labor. So that's one of the reasons for that change, and for several of the others as well. Overall, I think it looks like what Amazon is saying, I don't know if this is true, but they're saying it could go down, depending on what you're selling. Some people are going to see a 15% reduction. Even though some of the fees are going up, they're lowering some other ones. They may say, if you do this right, you may actually see a slight reduction in your FBA cost. I don't know that that's true. That may be the best case scenario. And most people probably aren't going to see that, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, there's a lot of new fees coming out. And I don't know if you noticed, but a couple of months ago in my newsletter, there's a group that did a study, and they went back and looked at all the P&Ls for like the last 4 or 5 years on Amazon. And Amazon breaks out what they spend on fulfillment and shipping and everything. And they did the math, and whatever the amount Amazon spent on shipping and fulfillment fees, which is across their entire fulfillment system, not just 1P, but 3P. The 3P sellers, based on the P&L, the money they charged us paid for not only everything that we shipped, but everything Amazon shipped as a 1P too. And so it's a profit center for them. And they're making money off it. And that's one of the things that the FTC, is going after. But if you still look at it, if you said, okay, to hell with Amazon, I'm just going to ship this stuff myself, UPS or DHL or FedEx 2-day or even next day, you still be paying a heck of a lot more money than what we're paying to Amazon to fulfill it. So at the end of the day, you still can't beat it. And
But,
Amazon actually is the biggest. It just came out. They're the biggest shipper in the United States. They have surpassed UPS and FedEx in total volume of deliveries now. So they are number one in the United States. So that's pretty quick. That was about a 5-year period that 5-6-year period that they've gone from not delivering anything themselves and depending on the post office and UPS primarily to weaning them off of that and now delivering everything themselves and become so big that they're delivering more on a daily basis than even UPS is shipping across their entire, and FedEx combined are shipping across their entire network.
I just feel, Kevin, that okay, they've got to cover this off, but we're paying for that already. And there's going to be a time like the talks that were in our group yesterday, and I'm not sure. I started to look at it in the BDSS group as well, but people are getting ticked. The nickel and diming is getting too much, and every time they do something, every time they increase a price or say that they're decreasing a price, actually at the bottom line for most sellers, they're losing. And the tone of the messaging is getting more and more like, I'm had it with Amazon. I'm moving off of Amazon. My message last night to our group was, look, regardless of where you go, what platform, Amazon is still the dominant one to be on. Even with the negative, you just got to make sure your profitability is there, that you know your numbers, and that you can be sustainable. But you can still grow and be very successful on Amazon. But they're nickel and diming everything right now.
Well, that's part of the FTC is they're saying they're a monopoly, and they're doing it because they can. Right. And so that's like you said, if you're fed up, you say, well, F you, Amazon, I'll just go do it myself. Well, good luck. It's a whole different business model. Some people are successful at it, but it's much more difficult. You got to drive all the traffic yourself. You got to do all the fulfillment yourself. You're paying more in most cases for the fulfillment. I mean, if you're selling jewelry or something that you can put in an envelope for $1, you might be saving money, but you're spending more in most cases. And Amazon is the shopping cart of choice for a lot of people. It's where they go. And so if you're not there, good luck to you. And so you have almost no choice in it. And that's part of what the FTC is saying. How can we fix this? And then when you couple Amazon on top of that, saying that you're not allowed, we're going to take the buy box away from you and penalize you as a seller on our platform where everybody is. If you sell it cheaper somewhere else, that's wrong. I think that's going to actually change. I think Amazon, they've already dialed that back a little bit, saying some websites like Temu don't count in that. But I think you're going to see them completely come off of that buy box suppression thing. They're going to have to. They're not going to have a choice, or the government's going to go after them. But Amazon always, they know they're big. They know they have clout. They know they have power. Just look at what they did with sales tax. They got away with that for 15 years, and where we had to worry about sales tax in California, it was coming after everybody. They knew the entire time what they were doing. They're like, we're too big to F with. We'll wait till the last moment till we have to make the change. And that's what's going to happen on the shipping and on everything else is the frustration. They're not going to make any changes until they're forced. And they see a mass exit, and they're not worried about it. If you got in your WhatsApp group, if there's 500 people in there and 100 of them say, to heck with Amazon, I'm going to go sell in Walmart or Shopify or somewhere else. Amazon's like, good luck. Don't let the door hit you in the ass because there's 100 more guys waiting in line right behind you. We don't care. So that's part of it.
Well, one of the things that I'm looking at now is that there's a comment here from Simon, and he talks about what goes up must come down. I remember years ago talking with my dad. We were out having a cigar. We were talking about Walmart and how we can't see anybody beating Walmart because they were just putting up super center after super center, and their goal was to have a Walmart. At that time, it was for every 16 miles. So how can anybody compete with that? Walmart dominated. And then all of a sudden, this little online company working out of a garage starts, Amazon. It wasn't even called Amazon back in the day, but, it grew. And now we're saying, like, if I'm sitting down having a cigar or whatever with you, I'm saying the exact same thing. But now we're seeing ripples. There's this little thing called TikTok Shop, or there's Walmart Marketplace, which is growing, but TikTok Shop, who knows where that's going to go? Who knows what's the next thing in line that's going to take on Amazon? Right now, it looks like it's a beast, that nobody's going to come close to it. But I'd really like to know what that next
the thing that Amazon has in their favor that's going to make the moat they have is their distribution network. The only TikTok is the search engine of choice for the younger generation. They go there instead of Google to type in, look for their news, or to look for, if they want to know how to make pumpkin pie, they're not going to Google and typing that in, or YouTube. Some do, but the vast majority now are going to TikTok and typing that in. So they're going to start shifting some more of their buying there. But the problem is the world has become, I see this in my calendar business. I sell on Amazon. I sell through calendars.com and other places, and I also sell direct. And I still charge shipping and handling. So if you order a calendar on Amazon of mine, it's $19.95. If you're a Prime member, it's free delivery. If you order from me directly on my website or through the mail with a check or money order, it's $19.95 plus $9.95 shipping and handling. If you order 2 calendars, it's $12.95 shipping and handling. And there's still some people that are willing to pay that and wait. These are the old school guys that are probably in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s that are still ordering from me, that's just the way they like it and they do it. But I get a lot of people all the time like, are you out of your mind? You're going to charge me $9.95 for shipping, and it's going to take 7 to 10 days to get here by U.S. mail. They're accustomed to getting it instant gratification today or tomorrow, and that's going to be a shift. And then until TikTok, they're partnering with people that have these fulfillment networks, but nobody is even close to what Amazon fulfillment can do. Walmart is the next closest, but Walmart's is geared towards distribution to stores, not to consumers. It's called last mile. So Amazon nobody can beat them on last mile. Walmart has a chance, but Walmart's now they're taking areas of their store where there's a McDonald's and a nail salon, and they're turning those into like little mini fulfillment centers, almost like little hubs for local drivers and stuff, or you can pick things up. They have a chance, but TikTok does not have a chance on fulfillment by TikTok for a while. I mean, they're saying they're going to start spending money, and now that the case in was it Wyoming, Montana, where it was, that just got repealed. So where that state blocked TikTok and banned them starting January 1st. That there's an injunction now that just got signed off, and so that's not going to happen. They were kind of waiting to see some of the political stuff, but they'll start building. I think TikTok will start either buy somebody and roll it out, or they'll start building a network similar to what Amazon has. But they're way behind. It's going to take a long time to catch up.
Well, look at Shopify. They're trying to do something that like
but Shopify bought Deliver, and then they got rid of it. They bought it, and then like, holy cow, and they lost a bunch of money with it. This is not we're not good at this, and then they spun it back off. So that Shopify, they have that marketplace now where you can go in there and you can search across multiple stores and stuff, and they're trying to become a platform. But they're Canadian, so what chance do they have?
Well,
I'm just kidding.
One thing is, if they do fail, they'll say sorry, and they'll probably give away some donuts.
They'll say anyways. But no, I mean, Amazon just, like you said, everything goes up, goes down, and I think Amazon may hit some roadblocks or some stumps in the road, but I just don't see in the next 10 to 15, 20 years them taking a big hit. Unless the government does something, and Temu, Shine's about to do an IPO for $90 billion here in the U.S. Temu's got all this low price stuff. They're digging at some of the little commodity type of stuff off of Amazon. Amazon may, some certain product categories in Amazon may suffer, but the vast majority aren't. I don't think Amazon has any chance of going the way of eBay. eBay was a dominant player 20 years ago, and now they're a speck on a donkey's ass. So it's I don't think Amazon is going to go that direction. I think they'll have some hiccups. There's some certain product categories, $2 makeup brushes or something are going to become even more saturated, more difficult because of Temu, and some traffic will be siphoned off that way. But I just don't see because of that distribution network. And I think Jeff knew that. That's why he spent, what was it, the first 15 or 20 years of Amazon, they never showed a profit. And, people, I remember he's on the Letterman show or Jay Leno or something 15 years ago. And I'm like, so you've been in business 10 years and you've never shown a profit. How does this work? How's that even a business? And he knew, I got to build this, and then we'll be almost indestructible. But even the Roman Empire fell, and they were indestructible at one time. So at some point, Amazon, something's going to happen. They'll crash and burn, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
See, this is why I think Jeff built the Blue Genesis, because there's going to be so many upset Amazon sellers. It'll be like the witch hunt with pitchforks, and he'll have to escape quickly. And it's just like Austin Powers. He'll be out there on Mars, just doing his own little community.
But Amazon messes up some stuff. I mean, look at drone delivery. 10 years ago, Amazon announced 2014, they announced we're going to be doing drone deliveries coming soon. And to this day, there is no drone delivery. They're testing it in College Station, Texas, and one other place. There's virtually nothing being delivered. They had one of those drones at the conference, Amazon Accelerate conference in Seattle back in, when was that thing? In September, I think it was. And it's pretty cool looking. It's a big old thing, though. It's not like one of these little drones that you fly around your house, in the field behind your house. It's a big old thing. Looks like something that would deliver a bomb. But that still hasn't taken off. So there's and they've had other failures.
No
where
pun
they've had other failures along the way too, with their phone and some other stuff. So they miss on a lot of stuff, but they're entrenched in so many verticals, from distribution to AWS to Amazon, products to video content to, and there's areas like Inspire and some of their little social media. They can't hold a candle to TikTok. It's not their core competency. Their core competency is on the product side is distribution and fulfillment. They're unbeatable.
Yeah.
To the consumer.
Yeah, it's unfortunate what's happening. And by the way, if you're listening, we've already got a few questions in. If you have questions, make sure you get them in early so we can get them answered. A lot of the times when Kevin's on, we'll get 7, 10 extra questions that we just can't get to. So get them in early, and we'll get to them probably in about 15 minutes. Kevin, I want to also talk about, you've been going on about this for a long time now, and this is your newsletters. And when you first started talking to me about newsletters, I think you remember my reaction, like, oh yeah, like, yeah, go for it. you go do that thing. But now I've seen what you've been doing and how you've been building and the importance of it. And I've also seen other companies and what's happened. Like if you take a look at some of these companies that have just sold for huge dollars over a very short period of time, it's like, oh man, you've got a gold mine on you've got a gold concept. You're a diamond in the rough with the newsletters right now. And those newsletters, unfortunately, I think we agree about the saturation. We're going to have a whole bunch of gurus that are going to come on very quickly, and we're going to see this crazy newsletter, like it's going to be a gold rush again. And I want you to explain about this. Why is what you're doing with your newsletters different than those million that'll be coming onto the market?
Yeah, so the newsletter industry has been around for a long time. I used to have one 25 years ago. Went out to 250,000 people a day, 7 days a week. And this is before the technology, and this is before canned spam. This is before Google had a junk folder and a spam folder and a VIP inbox and a promotional box and all that. So it was much, much, much easier back then. But now, because of the success of Milk Road that sold for like 27 million because of success of several others that sold. One that sold for like 75 million, another one sold for 500 million. It's kind of had this outside of the Amazon world and the internet marketing world. Newsletters are a hot thing right now, and most people that even the New York Times, that they have something like 3 million newsletter subscribers, and they're charging $3.99 to $15.99 a month for that. And that's a cash cow. They're making more money off of that than they are off of ads or the newspaper or anything else, banners or whatever. That's where their cash is. And the thing with newsletters is it allows you to hyper target. And so you can do that on a blog. You can do that a little bit on social media, but nothing can do it as well as a newsletter because you control it. And that's where, and most of the people that are in this newsletter industry come from the journalism side. They're journalist people. And all they know is they know how to sell ads and maybe put a few affiliate links, but they don't know how to do it, tie it to products. So the opportunity right now, the huge opportunity is product sellers. We know our product side. If you can figure out a little, just a 30 or 40% get there on the newsletter, on a newsletter side, you can crush it by marrying these two things together. And most people, when you say newsletter, they just roll their eyes like you did when I first said it, because you're like, I get one from Jungle Scout, I get Helium 10s, I get Lunch with Norms, I get this one, I get that one. I can't keep up with them all. I open them, all it is 10% off of this, and here's the latest hire that we just did, or here's look at us in the press, here's our latest 3 press releases. They're shit. They're garbage. I mean, you guys are doing a good job on yours. Kelsey's picking up the pace quite a bit on it. It started out a little, like everybody else's, but you guys are, Kelsey's doing a really good job bringing that up and coming along. There's still some work to be done, but kudos to Kelsey for the hard work he's putting into that. But it's not easy. And so it's just like selling on Amazon. You have the gurus saying, this is easy stuff. Just stick your name on something from Alibaba and go to the beach and watch the cash register ring. Newsletters are the same. It's work. But if you do it right, the marriage of building an audience and to products is magical. And people are like, well, Kevin, nobody reads email anymore. Everybody's on TikTok and Instagram. Bullshit. Email is the thing that everybody has. Not everybody. Think about this. Of everybody that you know, some of your friends are on TikTok. Some of them are on Facebook. Some of them are on this or that social media. Some of them are on Slack. Does everybody have an email address that you know? Everybody. There might be one oddball that lives in a cabin in Wyoming that doesn't. But everybody has email, and people check their email. It's the one thing that permeates everything. It's like the driver's license of the internet or something. And so, people, if you deliver value to them, they will read it. It's just like when you go to your mailbox in the old days, and you open up the mailbox and there'd be 30 things in there. If you remember those days, and you're sitting there over the trash can sorting it out, like junk. Oh wait, this is a bill. This one's important. This is a letter from my birthday card from my grandmother. Might be $20 in there. Keep that one. You want to have those birthday cards from your grandmother that have $20 in there, so that, and if you have that and you can deliver that by email because you can tailor it, it's a one-to-one relationship. Social media is not as one-to-one. There's a lot of other noise on there. You see other people commenting. You see other people posting. A newsletter is a one-to-one relationship. It's talk radio by email. It's one-to-one. There's no other noise. And you control the medium. You control the delivery. On Facebook or social media, I can post. I don't know if this post is going to, on my LinkedIn post, I'm going to have 218 people see it, or if I'm going to have 26,000 people see it. I have no way to know. There's ways to game the system. Hey, everybody go comment. Everybody go share. Go do this. Don't put a link in the body of it. All these little rules. But it's just like trying to sell on Amazon. How do we game the system to rank on page 1? With a newsletter, you control it. When it's sent, who's seeing it? You know who's seeing it. You know everybody who's seeing it, because there's software that will show you who's clicking, what they're clicking, what they're interested in. They don't have to tell you that. You're not taking a poll and saying, hey, do you guys want to know more about dachshunds or about beagles? And take the poll, and people are like, oh, I'd like to know more about dachshunds. But what people say and what people do are often two different things. It's like if you ask somebody, which price would you like to pay for your membership, $19.95 a month or $9.95 a month? Everybody's going to say $9.95 a month. Of course, it's cheaper. I'd rather pay less. But when it comes to it, if you put that up as a test and see what they'll pay, that pay the a lot of those people that would pay $9.95 will pay $19.95 a month when push comes to shove, and they got to pull the credit card out of their wallet or hit their thumb with their Apple Pay or whatever. You know that data, and you don't know that anywhere else. So you control the message, you control the distribution, you control the data, and if you do it right, you start building raving fans. So people, when I first started my newsletter, a lot of people rolled their eyes like you did, and then it was a challenge to get people to start like looking at it and reading it. And now people are pissed if they don't get it. There's some people that still are too busy and they're like, oh yeah, I haven't seen it. And I call them on it. They're like, yeah, I get your newsletter. I was at a conference, in Australia. Like, yeah, I get it. It's like, oh, did you see last week's about this? Yeah, I think so. It's like, you don't get the newsletter. You don't read it. Let me look. What's your email address? Oh, well, I'm not, don't quit bullshitting me. You're not on the newsletter. And that's a lot of people. But once they get on there, I have people now that are pissed every Monday and Thursday, if they don't have it, if it's, I send it out like clockwork, so it's reliable. It's on your front porch at the same time every week, so you can count on it. And people are like, I get emails, I'm looking forward to this. That's when you have something. It's like, well, I'm looking forward to what you're going to say or what's going to be in the next one. And as a product seller, as an Amazon seller, you can do this for your products, and it can be magical. Is it easy? No, it takes time. It takes patience, just like trying to build a business on Amazon. But once you get the ball rolling and it snowballs, the power that you have to rank #1 on anything you launch, the power you have to, whether that be on Amazon or Walmart or TikTok or whatever, the power of the branding that you're building with your customers, the power of how you can negotiate deals with suppliers and with other people just exponentially goes up. And even for service providers, but you got to do it right. And most people, either they can't write or they don't know how to curate, or they don't know how to put it together. And that's a challenge. And that's some of what, I'm good at and going to be teaching. But that's if you do it right, that's what works. And so that's what makes the $1 billion sellers, because you're getting value. It's that $20. It's when you're sitting over the trash can, it's the $20 envelope from grandma with a happy birthday check in it. And because you're going to open that up and there's something there for me. Too many people put out a newsletter and it's all about us. It's all about, here's our newest feature on our website. Here's our newest, we just promoted Susie to vice president. I just got one today from MedJet Assist. And it's like, the subject line is, our monthly newsletter is here, ! Like, who the fuck gives a shit? I'm sorry about the cussing there, but it's sorry if I offended anybody, but it's like some 23-year-old was sitting there writing the thing and like, I finally got it done. Oh my God, the newsletter is here. Everybody jumped for joy. It's done. And everybody on the other side is like, that's the stupidest subject line ever. Who cares? And you look in the newsletter and here's a case study about someone they flew back from Africa that got sick. And then it's like, oh, here's us in the news. But you look at the stories, they're links to like PR news releases about how you should actually have insurance. They're not anything of value. It's not, here's the 7 deadly things to eat in Africa. Don't freaking eat this stuff. If you're going to Africa, there's no value. And so that's the problem, is most of these newsletters, there's no value, or they take something and they summarize it in 1 or 2 sentences, and you have to click off to go read it. Well, what happens when someone clicks off to go read it? One is, I don't want to read some big long story unless I'm deeply interested in it. I want a snippet of I want the USA Today. I want the snippet of the news so I'm informed. And if there's something that I'm seriously interested in that I want to go deep on, I will click on that. So you better in that newsletter tell me something. I should learn something in that paragraph. So if you're telling me, here's a podcast, we interviewed Destiny Wishon on PPC tactics. Go listen to podcast episode 2602. She talks about PPC and how you should rank for Black Friday. Click here. That's ridiculous. Most people are never going to click that, and there's no value. If you put Destiny was on the podcast 2602, and she said, these are the 3 things that you need to make sure you do for Black Friday. Make sure you have this checked. Make sure you have this checked. If you want to save 20% on your ACost, make sure that these 3 things are not activated on the settings. And then if you want to learn more like this, go and click here. And that's, if you write it like that, then if I'm just reading it and skimming, I'm like, I just got some value. Even if I don't have time to go click that link and go deeper, I don't even care to. I'm like, oh, that was cool. And I walk away from that feeling like I learned something or got some value. And that's where a lot of people mess up. And so that's where they just do it wrong. And so
right.
that's Yeah, I can go on my soapbox on this, but it frustrates me.
Yeah, and I'm going to get back to it because one of the things, and we've got to go to a break in a second, but one of the things that I was surprised at, but I can see why, it really is a mastermind. When it comes down to it, it is some information that's coming in. You can skim it, you can get it as you want. So there's tons of value there. And this is the surprising part. So you are very popular, very well known all over, from Freedom Ticket to AM/PM podcasts to these events that you put on. But where you're getting the value and where you're getting more people inquiring about your services through the newsletter.
Yeah, the newsletter is the most.
Shocker to me.
This surprised me. I've had I started the $1 Billion Sellers newsletter because I'm doing it for Norm, you and I are doing some stuff, and I'm doing it for some of our brands, dog brand, and we're probably going to do one for cigars and some other stuff. And I'm doing it there, but I was like, I need to learn the ropes first, and I already have a little bit of an audience in Amazon. So let me do something I'm super passionate about, and let me just kind of learn what's the best software, what works, what doesn't, what should I be doing right. And that was the initial intent. And then let's branch off, and we're working on several others now. But the thing that surprised me is, I've had 160,000 plus students go through the Freedom Ticket. It's a lot of people. I get recognized by Uber drivers in New York, just random, or at the Walmart in Austin. Somebody behind me comes up to me and taps me on the shoulder and says, do you ever heard of Helium 10? You look familiar. So I get a lot of that kind of stuff. I'll also do the podcast, and the podcast, it's great. I love doing the podcast. I'm on virtual events and on things like yours. But the power that the newsletter has given me from a branding point of view, and from, I hate to say it, from a power point of view, is surprising. When I first came out with a newsletter, there's some tricks in there that I do, like the Dream 100. That's to recognize people in this industry. I mean, you're in that are good, solid people, because there's a lot of riffraff, and it's also a marketing thing, because if you're in the Dream 100, you're probably going to be like, hey, I'm happy I'm in this. It's a little badge, I can put on my shoulder, and you might post it on social media. So it kind of creates this snowball effect. You can do that in any industry. If you're selling dog products, you can do the top dog trainers and feature them and watch them feature your newsletter, and you build all this traffic that you would never get on social media. You never get anywhere else. You can do all kinds of cool stuff like that. And when I first started it, people were like, Tomer, I think, was the first one. It's random. So I have a list of 90 people already pre-vetted, unless somebody messes up and they get kicked out and they post something they shouldn't post or something. And I got 10 spots open for people that I haven't met yet, because there's people out there that I just don't run in their circle. I don't know them. So there's 10 spots open, and we randomly pull them out. So there's no certain order. So Tomer just Rabinovich, smart guy, happened to be the first one. When he got it, he was like, oh, thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. Cool. The second person, I can't remember who the second one was right now. They were kind of the same way, but by the third one and the fourth one, it started snowballing. And now I have people messaging me, how do I get into this? What do I got to do? How do I become part of the Dream 100? And it's becoming, and I'm doing some cool stuff around that I'll be announcing soon. There's a really cool website coming up around that, and some other cool stuff and some other benefits. And that's powerful right there. And it's going to get way more powerful when I announce some of the stuff I'm going to be doing next year. And then just the people coming to me, how can I get featured in your newsletter? I want to feature in your newsletter. People are coming to me, and a lot of people, they're afraid to spend money on ads. So they're afraid to spend $500 on an ad or whatever. And so I'm like, all right, you send me subscribers. You get 10 or more subscribers through this little link that tracks it. I'll feature you in the community. I set up a community shout out section. So it's up to 2 people in each newsletter where I'll shout out, here's the course they're doing, or here's the party they're doing, or here's their new book or whatever. But they send me traffic first. And I know that traffic, I don't know the exact number yet, but I know that every person on my list should be worth about $30, because some of these people are going to buy to the $1 Billion Seller Summit in May. Some of them are going to buy to the virtual event. I don't know the exact numbers yet. It'll be interesting to see the final, how that works, but I'm already seeing it now where it can move the needle. And then people you almost become their friend, and they feel like they know you because I personalize it. And so it feels more personal. And so we don't have time here to go into all of it, but I'm going to be doing it on this webinar tomorrow. I'm going to show you for the first 45 minutes or so why you should be doing a newsletter. and why it's not what you think it is, and how to overcome some of the hurdles. And then the next hour or so, I'm going to show you, I'm known for hacks. I'm going to show you like 20 some odd newsletter hacks, like cool stuff. Like, how do you get content? How do you make sure the email is delivered? How do you do this? It's not going to be here's step 1 to 10. It's going to show you some of the cool stuff to get you thinking. And then if you decide that, hey, this looks cool, I think I should do this, there'll be an offer for training with me. It's not a course. It's not take some sort of course, but there'll be an offer to join me for the next 3 months. Every week I will go over more detail, way into detail, into the weeds on stuff. I will help you hold your hand. Actually, you'll be able to send me your newsletter if you want to, and I'll critique it. And like, no, you should do this, or what about this? You're this part, and I'll help you get that refined and answer questions and help you have the best chance of success to actually get this launched, to crush it with the business you're doing. And that's what I'll be doing tomorrow. So hopefully some of you can come on. You'll learn something. You'll learn a lot. It's going to be about 2 hours. There will be a replay.
It's free too.
It's free. Yeah, it's free. And there'll be a replay if you miss it. But this is not one of these webinars where it's structured. It's not the perfect webinar. It's not a Jason Flatland webinar, or something that some of the other guys in the space do, where they tell you some information, then they go into this big long sales pitch and start stacking all these bonuses on top of it and do all this psychology. Are you with me? And all that kind of stuff. I'm not doing that. I'm going to provide value, tell you, hey, if you like the value you're getting, come join me. And you decide you want to do this. I'll help you get there, and give you the best chance of success. But this is basically like that picture shows. If you have a newsletter, if all those people at the door on the left waiting that's your brand with a newsletter, everybody else is going to be on the right. So if you do this right, and you can crush it. And I'm convinced of that. I've seen it in my own stuff, and it's patience. It's not a quick fix, and it takes a mindset shift for getting a mindset shift in some of your customers, because when you say the word newsletter, it's a turn off to a lot of people. But if you can get them to start engaging and reading, you can do magic.
Right. So, and I think this is so important. One of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up on the podcast is it's so important for a brand. So if you're a brand out there and you don't have a newsletter, and if you check out what Kevin's going to be doing tomorrow, it'll give you some insight on why you should be there, why you should be this innovator. So many people are not going to be doing this. So check it out tomorrow. I've got to talk about a couple things. First of all, Kelsey, I never talked to you about the prize today. Do you know what we're giving away?
I'm guessing a press release and a blog article,
or a press release or a blog article, or it could be a video from you as well. Good.
We did do that last time, so
we could, but why don't we select one of those three?
Okay, so you have your choice. So you can either win a press release, a blog article, or a product review, or be featured on my TikTok channel for deals and discounts. Just write hashtag Wheel of Kelsey in the comment sections to enter. And if you take 2 people, you get an extra entry. And yeah, I think that's it.
There we go. Okay, and now why don't we just?
I see one comment here. Facebook user like 15 minutes ago said, "Why are newsletters becoming increasingly popular nowadays? And what role does AI play in the trend?" AI right now plays a lot into that trend. A lot of people, it's being sold as easy. It's being sold as, oh, you don't need to know how to write. You don't need to know how to curate. AI can do it all for you. Just don't worry about it. That's hogwash. That's bullshit. AI is a great tool. AI will absolutely help you on doing a newsletter, but everybody that's falling for some of these things that are all about AI, let AI do the whole newsletter. You can do 50 newsletters by yourself in an hour a day with AI. Run. It ain't going to work. You might be able to send some emails out. You might be able to set it up, and you're all excited, but after a month or two, 99% are going to fail. Absolutely fail. They're all going to be similar. They're going to be hogwash. It'll be just like the other guy that just posted in here. I get 100 newsletters a day, and I hit delete on all of them. Hopefully not mine. But you get 100 a day and hit delete on all of them. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be saturated as you know what. But there's ways to stand out, and there's ways to do it right.
You got to get to a sponsor. Kevin, I got to cut you off.
All right.
Okay.
This
And then
episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by VAA Philippines. Looking for a high quality virtual assistant for your business? With the rigorous screening, intensive Amazon and Walmart training, and ongoing professional development, get the peace of mind with skill and motivated virtual assistants for a long-term working relationship. Hire through VAA today. And now let's get back to the show.
right, we're back. That wasn't long, Kevin. So
Sorry about that. I
Let's
get
get
carried
back to
away.
it.
I get excited. I'm like, I want to help people. I want to answer their questions.
all right. So yeah, we can continue talking about that because it's so important. And going back to Simon's question, by the way, or statement, saying that, yeah, he deletes everything. But here's the difference. If you go and you see a product, a brand, a niche, whatever it is, and you opt into that, and I've been doing it. So I've got right now newsletters that I flag, I label, and I star when they come into the my inbox on AI. So that's one area that I want to learn more about. I learned so much about AI from really good newsletters, and it's just something I can look forward to. I skim through it. Same thing with what Kevin's doing, and there's a bunch of different niches that I like. But AI and like Kevin's newsletter is fantastic. But see, that's the difference. You might hit delete on all of them, but once you start getting content that's value that can help you grow, or it could be something that you like, just a hobby or whatever it is, that's when these high quality, value driven newsletters are going to come to life. And people, I think, will go like it's a 180. They'll go from hating like SEO. SEO got, if you say SEO, if you say press releases, that's kind of taboo. And newsletters have fallen into that as well. I don't know how you're going to, actually, that's a good question. Are you ever going to think about changing the word newsletter to something else?
Yeah, I've experimented with that, calling it magazine. Sometimes when people roll their eyes to me and they say, "Do you get the newsletter?" Like, "Oh yeah, yeah." Well. Like, no, it's more like a magazine, and that's what's happening. You're seeing Vogue, and you're seeing a lot of these magazines actually shift to a newsletter format, and even some of the big publications, New York Post, New York Times, Washington Post, and so on. It's a problem because the word newsletter has become it's become commoditized, and people have a perception of what it is, that it's just here's a bunch of just self-promotional junk of no value. And so you don't see me newsletters in the name, $1 Billion Sellers Newsletter, but you don't see it anywhere else really. And one of the things I always put just as a little note to make sure it sticks out, like the guy that was deleting 100, is it always says BDSN, $1 Billion Seller Newsletter, in brackets on every subject line I have. I use some interesting subject lines to help get opens, and not just be boring. But that way, if you're like, if you're about to hit that delete button on the subject line, then you see BDSN and you see it's from Kevin King. So those two consistent things, you're like, oh wait, oops, I don't want to delete that one. That looks pretty cool. Let me open that. So there's little things like that, but open rates don't matter. Open rates is not what you're after when you're doing a newsletter. I'll talk about that tomorrow. Open rates are meaningless. They matter to tell you a general overview of the list, so that they're on a cursory level, but that's not the metric you need to be paying attention to at all.
It's very interesting that you said that you changed it to the word magazine. I'm at an event, and one of the guys I was talking to yesterday is coming out with his personal brand magazine. And it's interesting that you said that. So I wonder if that's going to be the
difference is a magazine word. Just has deeper articles and more long-term, so it's not the right word. Yeah. I don't know, maybe bulletin or something. I don't know. That's something I should be thinking about, is see if I can't come up with another name and start calling it that. But that's a good point. But if I said, hey Norm, do you get my bulletin? What would your reaction be? What would you like? What do you mean? What's a bulletin?
What the hell, Kev? Like, what are you into now? Send me a memo or a sticky.
It's a tough thing to come up with the right way to describe it. But once you get people into it and they know what you're going to be delivering, and they get then they start looking forward to it. That's the key. No matter what you call it,
Right.
is you want they're like, what's coming next? What value am I going to get today? And the thing is, if you give people, especially in our space, if you give people like Kevin, when I first started this, after like the first 3, people were like, you're going to run out of stuff to say. You're giving away so much stuff in each one of these. How are you going to keep this up? I was like, no problem. There's plenty of stuff. This is not an issue. I'm not worrying about that in the least. And then like, well, you have this virtual summit. It's like $1,000 in February to come to the virtual summit, and you have your BDSS, which is like $5,000. How do aren't you just giving away what you give in there? I said, yes, some of what I'm giving away is what I would give in there. But what we're going to give in there, that ups the game for what's given in there. Now all the speakers that are coming on the virtual, and they're like, oh, I can't talk about this because Kevin's already covered it. I got to up my game. So it raises the level and raises the bar for everything. And then if you're getting that much value out of a newsletter, you're like, holy cow, if this is what he's giving away for free, what the heck am I going to get if I pay?
Right.
And so that's, and you can do the same thing with physical products, and you can do the same thing with, or if you're listening to this and you own a SaaS company or you're teaching or something, there's so much you can do. If you own the distribution, you own the product and you own the distribution, you own it. Just look, why did Jeff Bezos buy the Washington Post? He has distribution and he owns media. If you own, why did Elon Musk buy Twitter? To get media. If you own the media and own the distribution, you own the message. And well, that's what you're doing with newsletter.
That's a Marshall McLuhan thing, right? So back in the 60s, Marshall McLuhan came out with the medium is the message. So, and that's so true.
Yep.
But okay, so
I do have to run to another meeting in about 4 or 5 minutes. So
let's do rapid fire.
Okay.
And there's a message I sent over to you in private chat. Can you take a look at that and see if that's possible? Okay.
All right. First question.
I'll do the first. I can do the first month.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So just before we get into these rapid fire questions, we just upped it. Kevin is going to provide some training on the newsletter after the it's a $397 value. And that's all I'm going to say is that this is great. I didn't expect this, but this is going to be part of the Wheel of Kelsey today. It's awesome. Okay, so thank you, Kevin. Now let's rapid fire it.
Okay, we got some big questions. So from Manny, is there a way or strategy to hide the number of sales? It attracts competitors. I used to put different variations so the bestseller got covered, but now Amazon has this new feature that shows which variation has sold more than 50 plus, 100 plus, 300 plus. Thank you so much, as always, Kevin and Norm.
Yeah, there's no way that I know of to hide that. And I don't think there will be unless there's some sort of loophole somewhere that someone discovers. But there's no way to hide that. And your competitors can see that. They can do the same thing though with Helium 10 or Jungle Scout or something else. But no, there's no way.
Okay, this one's from Cool Hand. I'm planning now for recovering from a stock out that will end up being 30 days long. Any tips of what I can or should be doing now and what to do when I go back in stock?
Man, this is not good for you, especially this time of year. I don't know what your sales volume is, but this product may be dead. I hope that's not the case, but you may, if you've been out of stock now and it's fourth quarter. So what's happened is your sales are everybody's sales are up. I don't know what category you're in. Maybe you're up 10%, maybe you're up 500%. But everybody's sales are up, and there's going to be a lag on that. So when you come back in stock, that lag is going to still influence the ranking. So it's going to take you till it comes back down to in Amazon system, because the lag of the ranking and the sales per day and stuff that's factored into the ranking. That portion of the ranking part. I mean, what you've done for me lately matters most. The last week, the last day, but there is a trailing history, and you're going to have some crap numbers, and it's going to hurt you. And it's going to hurt you longer than normal because you're out of stock right now. So you probably will not get back up doing much until March, February, March. And I will be unless you just have no competition and you're in some sort of super niche. But if you're in a competitive niche, you're probably dead. Getting back to your level where you were, that's not to say you're throwing the towel and go run away and hide in the closet, but it's you getting back to the level where you were at beforehand is going to be difficult if there's any kind of competition. Being honest, what you can do is you can close the listing, at least do that. I believe that still helps somewhat. It's not as effective as it was 5 years ago, but close the listing temporarily until you get back in stock. And then when you get back in stock, you're going to have to do some promotions. If you have a house list or a way to do some sort of promotion, lower your price to try to get the momentum back. You'll start seeing sales again. You're not like totally dead, but you're going to be dramatically hurt.
So Kev, Luke, you asked this in the group last night as well, I think, or the day before. One of the things that I would be doing is if you've got the product ready, I would probably, depending on the size, and I know your product or products, I'd fly whatever it takes to get it into stock. I'd just fly it over whatever you can to get it in there faster, just to stop this from hurting your listings.
Yeah, if you can do that, or if you can even switch to an FBM model and just put a release date of 30 days from now, it's still going to hurt. It's still going to hurt you, and you're going to lose a lot of sales. But there will be some people. Well, yeah, I really want what you're selling. I'm willing to wait the 30 days. At least you'll have something coming in, and then when you get into stock, either you ship those yourself, or have your 3PL do it, or go stand in your garage, or go stand in line at the post office and ship those 100 units, and just gut it up. Or you sometimes what people can do is they'll take those 100, they'll fulfill it through Amazon. Just go in there, manually type it in, and fulfill it. But make sure that date is dead on, because if you miss that date, that's going to hurt you. If you say 30 days and there's a delay in your shipment, it's really 42 days. Your account's could be in trouble under suspension. So you got to be careful with that and be very confident that you can do that.
And there's one other tip here. If you think that raising your price dramatically is going to help you out, it'll probably hurt you more than just letting it go out with a bang. So close your listing, but don't stop your sales from happening, because that's going to affect your sales, your trailing sales. So this is something that Kevin and I have talked about before on the podcast, and it's so important that you do that, and you just don't raise it, double or triple it, and all of a sudden you got no sales happening. That doesn't look good in your history.
Yeah, if you can raise the price and maintain the same sales level, keep raising the price. But if it starts really hurting you, you don't want to do that. People always say, I want to go out with a bang and then I'll come back in. That actually hurts you more than it helps you.
Okay, so do you have time, or should we go to the wheel?
Actually, I need to run to another meeting.
Okay, if you got to take off right now, we'll just do the wheel on our own.
I do. I'm 4 minutes late.
Okay,
right.
I'll see you later, Kevin.
Thanks
a lot for joining.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. All right, Kels, let's see what the questions are, because I might be able to handle them. Just rapid fire.
Okay, from Spencer, are you guys aware of any grants out there for Amazon sellers?
I'm not aware of that. I do know that they were having, if you were a minority, that they were having, like if it was women, or if you were in a part of a different minority group, they did have an incentivized, I think there was a loan or a grant available, and I think it was for 15 grand or something, and then they gave you credits against PPC. I don't know if that still exists. That was going back probably a year and a half ago.
Okay, from Fazul, how to prevent the loss of the Amazon buy box?
Well, we talked about if your price is too high, sometimes Amazon will block that buy box. The other thing is, if you're having a sale and you didn't specify in your inventory the min max price, so if you just have a list price or the MSRP and a list price, and that's what's showing, and all of a sudden you've tried to put it on sale for 30% less, and you've tried to raise it up 20%, sometimes Amazon will block that because you're raising it too quickly. So to prevent that, you go into your inventory or your catalog, go into the inventory, select the columns because it's not default, but you have to go in, select additional columns, min, max, and then you can put the lowest that it'll go, the highest you'll allow it to go. And then if you have to dramatically increase or decrease, you'll keep the buy box, or you should keep the buy box.
Okay, great. The next one is from DripFit. What is the effect of 1 out of 4 of my variations go out of stock? Is it the same if it was one product without any variations?
No, so don't worry about that. If you do, you got to get it back in stock for sure. But yeah, you can just if your main listing or your main money maker goes out of stock, then you'll probably have a problem.
Okay, and then for Legendary Studio, we talked about the Amazon fee structures at the beginning of this episode. I think pretty in depth for about a good 25 minutes. So if you can just check that out, a lot of
and
great.
We'll repurpose. We'll go through that in detail in a repurpose and put it on social.
Yeah. Okay. This one's for Manny. How many variations should a listing have before people get confused? In my opinion, it's 5, but maybe you two have another opinion. Thank you again.
I've experimented that with soap. So I had a lot of soap. I think I had 30 or tons, put it that way. And then what I did is I broke it up into scents. So into different categories. So I had floral scents, men's scents, tropical scents, and broke it up. And then there was only 7 to 10, maybe even less, depending on what the scents were. But yeah, that worked because if people are looking for soap and they're looking for a specific type of soap, then they could go over there and they have their selection. But yeah, it's completely up to you. You can experiment. Sometimes too, where it gets confusing is when you put the two different, like if you have a quantity and a scent, or a quantity and sizing. Some people try to put too much information with a lot of different scents and a lot of different sizes, let's say. That could be really confusing. But just experiment with it.
All right, so we got another one from Spencer. I got banned from Facebook Marketplace for some reason. I posted my product and I got banned. Do you have any experience with this?
All I know is that I know Wilfred Lightheart and I had a company, and Facebook decided to ban us for being fake, and everything was real. And we still haven't got the account back, and that was 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah, I know Facebook is just one of those platforms where it is a pain whenever there's issues. So other than like contacting support, that's probably the best way around it, unless someone else can provide additional information. But that's all we got. And then I'm not going to be touching on the newsletter questions here, but this one is from Fazul. What if I got patent infringement claims? We already have a patent pending.
So patent pending is nothing. So it's just a patent pay. It just means that you filed. You don't have that patent. And if you have a patent infringement claim, you want to check it out. Now, a lot of those claims are just false. And one of the suggestions I would have is just going back to our read that's going to happen in a second, but making sure that you have a lawyer like Paul Raffleson and his law firm, or his service called Seller Basics. You pay $99 and they'll go up to bat for you, figure out whether this is bogus or not. So I can't really, without knowing a lot more about it, I can't really help you. But a lot of sellers this time of year will go and file these false claims to kick you off during the holidays and then get you back on. So it also depends if you have some money. If they're doing a false claim like that, you can go after them. So I'm not a lawyer, but that's just my opinion.
All right, so I think that's all the Amazon questions here.
Oh, I get to talk about Paul now.
For what?
Seller Basics.
Oh yes, yeah. It's your time
Yes.
to shine.
All right, my time to shine. Let's see. Okay, let's see what we have to say today. Great. You put it in. Thank you, Kelsey. All right, so let's talk about Seller Basics. Hey, Amazon sellers, ever faced with account suspensions, ASIN hiccups, or IP headaches? Introducing Seller Basics, your Amazon account guardian. With just $99 per month, Seller Basics offers a dedicated team to shield your business from these challenges. Plus, this membership offers free legal consultations from seasoned e-commerce attorneys. No long-term contracts. Cancel with just a month's notice. View Seller Basics as your account health. Let's try this again. Back it up. View Seller Basics as your Amazon account health plan. Check out Seller Basics at sellerbasics.com. Now, note, this is a disclaimer. Seller Basics is not an insurer or law firm. Consultations come from independent firms. Results may vary, and membership needed before events leading to claims. And lastly, terms apply. Okay, and every podcast we're having, these issues are coming up where this $99 membership is helping out people. But you have to have that membership, and I want to stress that you have to have that beforehand. If not, you're paying regular fees, which is quite expensive. Okay, so Kels, let's get back to this.
All right, it's time for the Wheel of Kelsey. I do want to mention, we talked about it just a little bit, but Kevin is offering his $397 training for the newsletters too. So this is going to be for one person as well, and then you get your choice of the press release, blog article, or a UGC video or discount video from me. So it's a great prize today. I don't think Kevin normally gives these out, so this is for the webinar. So check it out. I also posted the link over in the WhatsApp group, so you can sign up for Kevin's webinar there. And it's time for the Wheel of Kelsey. Let's go.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right, so here we go. We got lots of entries today.
Big deal today.
Shuffle these up, and let's see who today's winner is. Please email me, kate@lunchwithnorm.com, if you are the winner. Looks like it's Rad.
Rad, congrats. You got a great prize today. And you know what? The newsletter training. So for you, I would definitely get on there. One of the biggest newsletter niches right now is preppers, and your product and your solar product would fit in perfectly. So check out that training tomorrow. I know I've talked to Kevin last night about some of the stuff he's going to be talking about, and it's fantastic. So that's it for today's episode. Kelsey, anything else to say? Kelsey, don't leave me hanging.
No, I think we covered everything. So Rad, just email me, kate@lunchwithnorm.com, and let me know which of the three you'd like. So the press release, blog article, or the video. And then we'll connect you with Kevin too for your prize. So I think that's it. I think we covered everything. Make sure you sign up for the WhatsApp group. I'll drop the link in again. And then also we have
WhatsApp is going crazy, by the way. And like I've seen some people on here that are part of the group, and the conversations are so different than the conversations that we are having in our other communities. I'm loving it. I love to see the engagement, everybody who's participating. It's fantastic. So keep it up, guys. And if you are interested in our newsletter, that's another thing. This week's newsletter was, I think, the best newsletter we've ever put out. I like it. And if you have any comments on what you think of it or what you like to see in it, just let us know. By the way, I'm just kind of curious, how many people found the beard guy? If you saw the newsletter, you'll know what I'm talking about.
It was tricky. I really
I couldn't
snuck
find
in
it.
there.
It took me a couple of minutes to go through and find the beard guy.
Yeah, so we have like a little Where's Waldo thing in our newsletters. So we're going to be sending it out. Our first official Beehive newsletter, which is the platform that Kevin recommends for the newsletters too. So that's going to be happening on Monday. So super excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully we'll get your reactions on what you think. And yeah, if you have any questions, let us know in our Facebook group or the WhatsApp group. We've got a great community over there, and it's been fun hanging out with everyone. But yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. It's always fun having Kevin on the podcast. So join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And like I always say, we have a great community. If you want to be part of it, you can go over to our Facebook group or over to our new WhatsApp group, which is on fire right now. Loving it. We're getting new members every day. Okay, until I won't be around on Friday, there's going to be a pre-record, but I think you're going to love this pre-record that we did. I think we recorded it about 2 weeks ago. Anyways, I think you're going to love it. So tune in on Friday, and I will see you next week.
Want more great information? Don't forget to subscribe by clicking here. Also, if you want to check out our latest podcasts, click over here.
Entrepreneur.